So you're off to Glen Affric next week in the Highlands of Scotland for your photography assignment?
Yes, that's right.
So have you got the map I gave you of Loch Affric and the surrounding area?
Yep, here's mine.
And mine? Loch means lake, right?
Yes, that's right. Now, you've read up on it, so is there anything in particular that you want to look out for?
Well, as I said, I'd love to get some really good shots of the pine trees, particularly old ones.
You're going to see them all over. Look, there's a particularly big area of forest to the southeast here and several smaller ones.
Yes, they're okay, but if you look at where the two lochs meet...
Where it narrows in the centre of the map?
That's right. You'll find some of the oldest pines there, up to 200 years old.
Great, I'll mark that.
What about red deer? Can we hope to see any?
I guess they'd be more out in the open, in the non-wooded areas?
Well, they like an area near the edge of woodland.
So perhaps this largest area of forest here in the corner of the map?
Yes. They also need water, so between the woodland and the river. I'd try that spot. What you should also look for are red squirrels.
But they're so rare in Britain.
Not here, though. You might get a good picture of one among the pine trees near the loch.
Close to the loch. Perhaps this south side of Loch Affric.
Not right on the edge, though. That's where you'd look for birds. But in this slightly bigger patch of woodland behind it.
Just away from the water a bit, then.
Yep. There's plenty of wildlife to tempt you. But remember to go for a good shot when you see it.
Yes, I remember what you said in your lecture. If you're in a good spot, the light is good, if an animal is about to move into a great position, then be ready and go for it. My problem's hesitation. I wait too long.
You lose the moment.
Well, a lot of inexperienced photographers have that particular problem.
What if you frighten your subject off?
If you do, it's like anything. You have to put it down to experience.
So you shouldn't wait too long, but don't take the shot too soon either. Sometimes you've got to have patience.
That's one of the most important qualities if you're a wildlife photographer. You may have to sit for hours waiting for the perfect moment, but suddenly something will take your breath away and you'll realise it's all been worth it. Right, so do you have any further questions about the trip?
Well, yeah, I was wondering about the weather. They're forecasting a lot of mist.
Well, yes, but I wouldn't worry. In the long run, you'll still get your pictures.
But
you just have to be careful, you know. Experts say there's no such thing as bad weather when it comes to photography.
What about driving rain?
Well, yes, that doesn't make things easy, but it does mean that you need to take the landscape into account, perhaps to a greater degree than you would normally.
Is that because of shadow and things like that?
Well, you get shadow in good weather.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm really looking forward to photographing the Scots pine trees. I want to make the most of all the stunning reflections in the water.
Just take your time, and you might capture an amazing reflection. You really should profit from this with the water around you.
You were talking last week in your lecture about a piece of equipment called an angle finder, and I've been checking them out on the internet.
It's a clever little device. Particularly useful if you're down on your knees trying to get really close to something in the grass, like an insect or bird.
I've got one actually, and what's great about it is that it prevents neck pain, because it's like a periscope on a submarine. You can lie down and look through it without hurting your neck.
Definitely worth buying then.
Now, is there anything else?
Well, I've been looking at some wildlife paintings by Scottish artists. I thought they might help me get ideas.
That's a good suggestion.
Some designers can be helpful too. They can help give you ideas about camera angles and how you use natural light.
I'll look into that. One other thing. I know you said we should consider matters related to conservation when we choose a scene to photograph.
I made that point because, well, images like the ones you're going to take can sometimes reveal some of the conservation problems faced by species and habitats. It's just something to bear in mind.
Well, I'm going to talk about elephants because they're an integral part of Thai culture and history. In the past, every Thai king had white elephants. Also, they used to be on our national flag and on our coins and banknotes. So, Thai people are very fond of elephants. We even have an Elephant Day on March 13th. What else? Some Thai Buddhist temples have been built on the spot where an elephant died, and these temples contain things like an elephant shrine and elephant statues. As you can tell, elephants are everywhere. You can find them in the wild in Thailand, but also in cities. And although the elephants were in captivity, they used to be an important part of the workforce in the forests. That was their primary occupation. But as a result of conservation programs, there's less logging nowadays. Workers now bring them into the city, as this is the only way they can make a living. Basically, elephant numbers are falling these days, and I think that's why there's been a lot of publicity about them recently. Cities aren't really the ideal environment for animals. They're full of pollution. On the other hand, elephants can damage roads, and they can be dangerous for humans. So, the government has cracked down on this, and some elephants have been moved out. In order to protect them, we now have an elephant conservation center. Also, every year, there's a special event to help raise awareness and money to look after our elephants, because they are such important creatures to us.
Have you always liked elephants?
Oh yes, they're lovely creatures.
Is there any justification for continuing to keep animals in captivity?
I'm not sure. Zoos became unpopular because animals were being kept in cages that were just much too small. But nowadays, many animals are kept in much larger enclosures, and, well, children love seeing real animals. It helps with their education. Yeah, looking ahead, I can see a future for zoos. Also, certain species only survive if we protect them, like the giant panda. So, I'd say there's a reasonable chance that zoos and similar places will carry on. Although it's highly likely that the word zoo will be completely replaced by animal sanctuary or something, but I think we need to have them.
Pair.
Is wildlife preservation a global or national issue?
Well, in the end, I think it's an issue that will be handled on an international level. I mean, woodland, animals, even insects, they belong to all of us. They don't recognize borders or cultural boundaries. If we don't protect forests and other animal habitats now, we may well see a very steep decline in animal numbers in the future and more extinctions. So we have to have a global plan. Otherwise, there's every possibility that there will be catastrophic consequences.
Lucretia.
What future role do governments have to play in the preservation of their country's wildlife?
As far as I can see, they must lead the way. I mean, ordinary people are interested to know whether they can do anything to help endangered species. You know, it seems like they want to play a role in that, so they give to charities and even do sponsored runs, and that raises awareness. But in the end, it's only governments who can actually enforce laws and prevent people from participating in activities that damage the environment. Without new laws, there's very little chance of any real improvement in the foreseeable future.